Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44. You can also get me on my Facebook page, True Divine 44, and it is the True Divine for both Instagram and Twitter. Bitchute, also True Divine 44. Last always but not least. This is where I put out the free content that I can to help support, guide, and inspire to do my bit for the collective. It's up to you to take what resonates and leave what does not. It is general. It's where I combine the tarot work that I do and the energy work that I do to interpret the energies of the day, like some kind of tarot weather girl, to give you an idea of the energies that you might feel within you, around you, and within others, and how best to navigate around them or what to be aware of. And so I'm just going to make sure this is on silent. Yes, it is. So we've got lots of synchronicities coming through for those that are, excuse me, aware and alert and awake to the shift that we're going through right now and to the higher consciousness and spirit in general. And so this being for the 29th of December 2020, it is another huge day. We are in the real thrusts of this coup, this worldwide coup, this takeover. And in our individual lives, we are feeling this also, where there are parts of the collective that are really spelled by these low frequency spells that are being put out, harnessed by fear, trapped by their own insecurities and lack of inner work. And they are within our lives as the awake, aware, and working through our inner self, working through our inner triggers and wounds. And so we are finding ourselves attacked a lot, or are going to, by the people that are closest to us, those in the collective that we live around, that we exist around, family members, friends. And so this is a difficult time for sure, but also super exciting. It's not to lose track of the fact that I feel that there are so many of us here that chose to be here at this time, that chose to go through what is such a dense reality because of the evil that has been allowed to exist here and grow here. And so I do really feel that there are certain amounts of us that are here with a mission to liberate the collective through going through the journey ourselves, a bit like a doctor who is ethical enough to inject himself with whatever he wants to inject his patients with. I know when I was doing my nursing training, I took needles and I drew blood from myself. I injected myself with saline to make sure that I had the fairy touch when I was giving other people injections. And so it's this journey that we are on right now, and this is an exciting time because we need to remember that we are warriors and we are very capable of what we came here to do, which is why the evil forces spend so much money and pay so much attention on trying to control us and trying to keep us at bay. And so when all of these stressful times are coming in, when all of these challenges are coming in, remember that. Remember, this is truly exciting to be a part of this time in what we are making as history, to liberate those within this realm, everything within this realm, from this sheer density that has been allowed to exist and grow here for far too long. And to be a part of that and to see the end result of that, of people having freedom and liberation from such abuses and from so many chains that have been bound around them. What a privilege, what an absolute chance in a lifetime, quite literally. And so this is what we have to keep a hold of. This is what we have to be aware of within us, and nurture those thoughts. And so for this day on the 29th of December, the first card is the Two of Wands. Now I want to say 3 cards flew out. I know from the energy that I give off and the energy of my cards when to take cards that fly out, you know, when to take notice of reversals and whatnot. 3 cards flew out in reverse. Absolutely wanted to be spoken of, wanted to be seen. So we've got the Two of Wands in reverse as the first card, and this is speaking of the script being flipped, these horizons being in the downside, in the upside down. Take note of Australia today and some things that are coming from there regarding borders, regarding movement again. This is where the horizons are closing in, the borders are not quite as apparent. This is where they are trying to keep people where they are right now. Trying to restrict movement, trying to restrict trade. First thing that pops in my mind is that France is banning any air travel from the UK, as well as a couple of other countries, I think. And the other thing is these lorry drivers that have been feeling for so much, that are stuck because of Brexit at the borders. And so these are scripted events, these are planned events to try and make the illusion of there being and the reality, but it's an illusion because the goods are in the lorries, the goods are on the ground where they are going to be delivered to or should be delivered to, yet they are stuck. The horizon has closed down, the walls have closed in and gotten higher. And this is to create the illusion of lack, of worry, of fear. You know, it wasn't quite doing it. This big virus wasn't quite doing the fear level that they wanted or anticipated. So this next part of the plan, this next part of the script is to incite fear, is to incite arguments, is to incite division, because we will see today, particularly in the UK, people starting to fight in the shops over goods and maybe mass buying again. Remember the whole toilet roll escapade that was so well covered that, you know, Johnson & Johnson and other brands made a huge amount of profit for something that was never going to run out. They never stopped production. And so we've got here, to clarify this Two of Wands, we've got the Empress card. And so this is where the reminder of, and she keeps coming up, this beautiful divine feminine energy. She's a mother. Look, this beautiful dragon nurturing this baby dragon, you know, this ancient being with full of wisdom. And she is focused directly on this next generation within her hands. This is about love and beauty and most of all abundance right now with this Two of Wands in reverse. And this is where she reminds us this energy that through our thoughts, our words and our deeds, we create our reality. We literally build our reality in our mind. We speak it out with our words, with our wind. We cast those seeds, those words to the wind, and they take root in the physical reality. And so where we are having this psyops played on us of these closing down of the borders, more restriction of movement today, and this attempt to create a lack, not that there is a lack, but create a lack, create barriers for abundance to get to the right places for consumers to consume. And so this is where it's calling upon us in our divine feminine as this motherly energy. And whether you are male or female, this applies to you. We all have this balance of divine feminine and divine masculine within, this yin, this yang. We also are speaking to the females here. And so I am speaking to you directly, whether you are a physical mother or not. You are a female, and it is up to us to take this role for these next generations, and to demand and speak out and be no longer compliant and no longer fall into fear, but speak to our children in particular during these psyopses that they will pick up on. Speak positive words to them, speak powerful words to them. It's up to us now to not just instill this wisdom of this power of the thought and the words and the deeds into our children, into the next generation through example, through ourselves. It is also so important that we start to reverse the damage that has already been done by the Rothschild education system, by the indoctrination, by you know, the mainstream media, the cartoons, There is a lot to unpick here, and it is for us divine feminine energies to stand up now as mothers. There is nothing more protective than the motherly energy. And again, whether you have physical children or not, it matters not. This applies to you. For example, I have female friends, Susie Q being one of them, Jem being another. And so I have these female friends who I know for a fact my children are their children. My children's welfare and power and the wisdom that they will hold is down to not just me, as well as my mother, as well as Abigail, my daughter, who is an adult, but she's my child. But she takes the role also of speaking these words of power, of wisdom, of teaching the boys how their energy works, how they can channel those elements within them so that they are not indoctrinated to feel less than, to feel that they are their happiness, their abundance, their beauty in their life is reliant upon some puppet in some office being paid for acts of abuse and fraud. And so today we really do need to carry on this and really amp it up to protect and strip away the damage that has already been done to our children's psyche. The divine feminine empress here is a collective of the inspiration and intuition and initiation of the first two cards. So the Fool's Journey and the Magician, the 0, the 1, and then we've got the 2, the High Priestess of the hidden, the intuition, the psyche, the spiritual powers that we all have the ability to harness and incorporate. And so she is the culmination of all of this, bringing it into the external, from the hidden, from the occult. And so this is where we need to, where our children are being locked down into certain mindsets, this is where we need to expand their thought process and expand their ways of knowing themselves better. Know thyself, knowing how to heal themselves, knowing how to be in complete control of themselves, knowing how to still be in control, but yet in flow. All of these things we need to really amp up and push with the next generations and with ourselves, of course, in doing this service to our next generations as the divine feminines here at this time. We do this service for ourselves as sisters and just for self. The more that we see the need to do it for the next generation as divine feminine energies, nothing gives us more oomph and drive to get the job done when we are looking into the eyes of a child, of a younger person, when we are looking at the sponge-like energies that they are, where they take on board so much of what we say and do and how we act. It holds us accountable. It holds us accountable to feel the beauty within the chaos, even feel the beauty, to feel the connection with nature, to see the frost on the ground, how beautiful that is over here right now. It glistens as it lays on the ground. There is not one season that I can't find such beauty in and such abundance in, that it fills you up. And this is a constant gift, a constant source of reassurance and power and wisdom. And so all of this reconnecting with self and reconnecting with the all, this is what this card represents. So where we are having these borders shut down and we are being squeezed in, these walls are moving in, we are pushing out, we're expanding out with this spiritual growth, with this wisdom and this knowing, particularly knowing that we have to do it now for this next generation. Time is up for dilly-dallying around. We haven't got that option anymore. It has to be constant. It has to be all the time. Positive thoughts, positive words. That's not to say we don't recognize and speak out about the corruption, but at the same time as speaking out, we always follow that up. But this is what we can do. This is who you are in this situation, son, daughter. It's so important right now. So we've got this Hermit card in reverse. Hermit card, you all know who've been listening for a while, this Hermit card keeps coming up, but it's in reverse today. And this is where we notice, highly notice the people that are refusing to do this inner work. And because of that, they are very, very easily triggered. They are very, very easily angered. Very, very easily over emotional in whichever way that manifests. This is difficult to deal with because they are in a state of confusion. They're in a state of almost Stockholm syndrome. They have harnessed the fear that is being put out there at certain frequencies, and they have owned that fear now. And so it makes them blind to see that it all is within and it follows on the without, rather than the other way around. So they are searching for external people, external sources to empty their emotional baggage and their fear and anger of not wanting to do the inner work, not wanting to be accountable, but not being able to feel safe. This is where we see the child in them, even the adults that are acting like this. This is where, as the Divine Feminine Empress, we can recognize that this is a frightened child. There is inner work here in many of these people that come from inner child wounds that they have refused out of fear from themselves to even look at or even contemplate, let alone recognize. And so we see this, that we have to be as forceful as a mother needs to be, as we do not back down. We do not change our ways of being because it frustrates these people. A lot of you have got people around you, friends, family, connections on social media, who are actually angry that you can be positive at this time, angry that you can be of service to self at this time, angry that you can see a way out, angry that you are speaking positively at all. Why? Because there's the inner knowing that they know that they can do this and should be doing this, but this fear that they have incorporated into their full being of not wanting to go within is so intense that they would rather attack the people who are ready to stand up and actually protect them more than anything else that they're attaching themselves onto ever would, than go within. And so this is a difficult thing to deal with, it is. But as the Divine Feminine Empress, you are just going to keep leading by example through your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. There are going to be people who just never get it. There are even people who we have come to love in our families and friends. A few of you are dealing with, the non-player characters that I've been feeling that have been deliberately brought in here to bump up the numbers, to be able to go along with these agendas, to be the vote in numbers, to be the robotic response voices for whatever agenda these eugenicists, these global elites are trying to bring in. And so we've got, to clarify the Hermit, it's unbelievable, we've got the Emperor. So we've got the Divine Feminine Empress energy here, pushing back at these closing walls. And we've got the Divine Masculine Emperor here. You can see how powerful this dragon is, looking directly at the Hermit card there on the throne. This is the number 4. So it speaks of a structure, formation, foundation, firm foundations, and authority. And so this is where the divine masculine in you, the males here, the fathers here, again, whether you're a physical father or not, excuse me, this is where you come in. This is where you have your role in in taking the authority, even in those people around you that are adults. This is where you see the child in them. And this is where some of you in your family homes might have to get a little bit firm with certain outbursts in actual children and in adult children, or uncles and nephews in particular. I can feel this male on male energy, and this is where you take the action to limit those responses and let them know that it's not okay to, you know, externalize all of that on other people within the home, within the circle, within the family. This is where we see that if we look on the collective stage, this masculine energy of Saturn connecting with Jupiter, who would be the softer side to the divine feminine energy, maybe. But this is where we are being held by Saturn, not out of malevolence, I don't feel. Yes, the powers that be here, so-called powers that be here, are using the Saturn energy, you know, to harness it for negative means for the collective, but actually it's always been on offer to us too, to look through the lens of Saturn and to establish our own authority in our own lives, to establish our own borders, our own lines of what we will accept and what we will not accept, to establish our own routine, our own ways and ways of being. And so this is where we are being called upon to harness this. And still, the inner work, the hermit energy, is never ending. This is where even the awake and the aware and the alert have certain corners within them that still need unindoctrination, that still need looking at, that still need that lantern that is held up by the hermit to focus in on and release themselves from. And certain aspects of today, certain things that come up, it's going to take you to have that divine masculine authority over self, to say, no, this needs to be looked at. This is, as it stands, a weakness. But through the eyes of Saturn, being very strategic, very male type orientated, as looking at the hermit energy, and feeling your way through that very systematically is required. There are still things that even the most alert, aware, and awake are holding on to, that is something of the external, hope on the external, or fear about the external. So this is for everybody to take heed of today, myself included, regarding the certain inner workings that we still haven't unblocked, the corners that we still haven't unlocked and weeded out, that corner of our inner garden. And it's super important because these triggers are going to be coming in thick and fast. It's important that right now we do not, no matter what level we are on of higher consciousness, we do not put our heads in the sand. And of course, Saturn is there infusing this energy into the collective. It is up to us to take it and stand in our own authority, stand in our own divinity, have our own set of rules that we live by, and demand that other people coming into our lives live by. So we have this set of the divine feminine, divine masculine, of course, being an energy within you all, but also to connect with and recognize the attributes of the males and females that are here, particularly the aware and the awake ones, of how they play a role, a very, very different role, but equally as important role, to the collective, to self first, of course, but then to the collective, to combine all aspects of self with that divine feminine energy, but also recognize how we maintain that and stabilize that in this 3D realm, in this 3D existence. And there's a real call into higher consciousness here. Now, the last card again in reverse is the Chariot card. There are certain things that are blocked, certain things that have come to a real halt. Think of the borders, think of deliveries. So they're the physical reflections, but this is reflecting also on the spiritual, the hidden. There are certain things that are being blocked. Now, this is both, for me, benevolent and malevolent today, the real duality of it, in that even our higher consciousness is playing a protective role more than some of us recognize in regarding the ways we are going around releasing movement and flow into this next cycle. And also, these are the beings that I pick up on that are very watchful of what we are doing here. Because of the evil that has been allowed to reside here through our complacency, generation after generation, we are a dangerous force, and could be seen as parasitical, if we looked at the whole universe, regarding how we allow very few take control in very dangerous ways of our movement and our flow and our connection to the all. And so we have the Moon card to clarify this Chariot card, and this is where there are lies and deceit. The hidden here. This is the Moon card energy, again, both benevolent and malevolent today, where it is begging us to take look through the lens of the moon and really connect to our psyche, to our inner workings, being in flow with that and believing and trusting our intuition, and not believing quite so much what we see with these two eyes, but what we feel in our spirit. Things really are not what they seem, and there are huge releases of information from just the universal energies, releasing this information regarding many of the lies and deceit that has built up this realm, that has controlled the movement and flow of the spirit beings experiencing the physical reality within this realm. The moon does affect us, just like it affects the seas. It affects us. We are mostly made up of water. And so this does warn us also to be very careful, to not be flying off the handle, to not be being triggered easily by the deceit and the control that is going on right here. It is illuminating, but it can only illuminate, unlike the sun, it's not quite so bright. So it only illuminates half of the path. The rest of the path has to be felt through intuition, through the psyche, through the inner knowings. And so this is where we unblock ourselves from whatever lies and deceit and whatever chains are being put around our ankles to stop us raising into our higher consciousness. Within our individual lives, of course, we have people in them that are going to be maybe resurfacing from the past, or in our lives in general, that are trying to halt and stop our flow and our movement. And this does involve lies and deceit. This does involve a half illuminated path. A lot of you, I can hear you saying, but it wouldn't be so obvious as that. I mean, they spoke to that person on the phone in front of me, whoever that is. No, they didn't. They just rang any number, a number, or no number at all, and literally had a conversation with themselves to try and cover their tracks. So whoever that is, if you feel secure and safe enough to leave a comment, please do. If not, that is absolutely fine. I completely understand. And so we have the Temperance card on the bottom of the deck, and this is speaking of, in all of this external drama and chaos that is being created, this is where the Temperance card really kicks in. And this is where our roots that we've built up through the experiences in this lifetime really kick in, that we can even transmute the most evil, dark energies into something that is of growth, something that is of beauty, something that is of a rebalancing. And we were never going to rebalance this realm, and it had gotten so out of balance. Not nature itself, that's been, doing its job. actually doing more than its job, doing its job to even overcome the damage that we have done. But it's like this separation of humanity and everything else in this realm, the animals, the nature, the elements. It's like we've been indoctrinated to believe that we're separate. Why? Probably because we are, probably because we were planted here. Who knows? But we've been here long enough that we need to recognize that we are incorporated with everything within this realm. We have this connection to the all, not just in the 3D reality, but in spirit also, in light beings, in the light beings that we are. And so this is where it is important for us to maintain our balance, maintain our composure, plenty of deep breathing, plenty of meditation, to transmute these energies, to see where the growth is, to see where the path lies ahead. And so this is super important to do here. And so we've got on the bottom of the deck, Judgment. I mean, you couldn't get a more reading. And so for the 29th here, we've got Judgment. And this is about renewal, rebirth, and growth, releasing yourself from past limitations. This is a deciding point. It is a judgment point, not through the judgment of outside forces, which is the attempt right now, the judgment of whether you're behaving like a good little citizen, and doing as you're told. No, it's bigger than that. This is your judgment of self. This is where you judge what is required to be released, what is required to be shed, and what is required to be taken forward on your journey. This is truly the feeling of the connection to the all, truly the feeling of being connected to the collective, and wanting to expand yourself on this journey and recognizing who you are, why you came here, and just how powerful you are. This is a real trumpet call to your path, to the path that you'd already set out for yourself before you were here. This is the real journey. This is sort of the ending point of the fool's journey, whatever different journeys, and we're going on different journeys every single day, some in numerous different ways. And so we have all of these paths that are ending, beginning, midpoint, starting point. And so this is after the fool has completed a certain journey, a certain experience. And this is where we judge what we will take forward and what we will leave behind, what we will shed for good, and ultimately grow from. And it's a pause, it's a reckoning with self. And so we see here that there is lots to do with the inner work. There is lots to do with balancing out that divine feminine, divine masculine, the appreciation and reverence for the generations that go after us and what we are leaving behind for them, both instilled in them and the physical reality that they exist in. This blocking energy. Yes, a lot of it is through malevolent forces with this Chariot in reverse, but actually what is meant for harm, for those who are aware, awake and alert and connected, what it can be made for good. And this is where it's highlighted to us in the dark inner grounds with this Moon card of what we still need to work on, what we still need to hermetize. That's been something I've been saying to myself. I'm going to hermetize that, because the hermit energy is coming up so prevalent. So what can be meant as a bomb can be made for a gift. It's all up to us and how we choose to use the energies. So use the energies today to have your greatest potential met, to have your growth met, to have your bliss met, and your abundance met. This is where we are standing up from within. So therefore, this reflection on the outside, this avatar that we've projected into this 3D reality, stands up there also. And we say no more, this far and no further. That is the reading for the 29th of December 2020. I hope it helps. I hope it makes you feel inspired Go on your day and have the greatest journey today. Please leave a comment. It would be great if more of you could share the videos and invite people over to this channel. That's been one way that I've been growing from, you know, the external forces that limit you, but I'm pushing back, and I know that you guys support me in that, and I appreciate you all so much for that. And I support you in your journey and put the intent out there that you feel bliss and love today, no matter what you are working through in your inner self and what is reflecting in the external. Be powerful, be brave, and be bold. I love you all. Stay balanced and stay whole. Mwah.